We're all going to meet our maker. And it's about how we live our life every single day. I had a pretty crazy night in Georgia. In fact, I was tired, so I didn't even realize what a weird night it was until I started to reflect on it when I got back to the hotel room. See, I just came in on a flight from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, where, of course, the fourth indictment, District Attorney Fannie Willis is going after President Trump. So I beelined it, got to the airport in Austin. Sean needed me in Georgia. I went down there. I did interviews all day, didn't even get a chance to think straight. And then I was bumped. This happens in television. You know, sometimes people go overtime. I was bumped. Hopefully tonight I'll be on Fox and I will show you what I saw. But that night, last night, it was a very bizarre night. And I'm going to tell you all about it because somebody was killed just 30 feet from me. And it was a surreal moment. And it got me reflecting on what's happening in our country, what's going on in our world, how we feel about life, how we feel about death, humanity, and the very special gift that we all have, which in the end is life. That's it. The most important gift we have is life. And I'll tell you all about it in just a moment. But first, I want to thank Allegiance Gold. Thank you, Allegiance Gold. You want to protect families. You're on a quest to protect our assets, our 401ks, our IRAs. And that's why you're a part of the Sara Carter Show. And I thank you so much for being a sponsor of this show and making it possible to bring you great guests and tell you all my great stories and connect with my audience. And I want all of you to know how much Allegiance Gold really does care. And right now, for Sara Carter listeners, you'll get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. And what do I tell you all the time? Diversify, 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 diversify your funding, your funds, your assets. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and your family for the future, because obviously we cannot predict what is going to happen. We saw what happened with COVID-19. We've seen what's happened in Canada and the craziness of the protesters, remember, against the Canadian government. So we need to be prepared for anything and everything. Don't just trust me. Go ahead, check it out for yourself. My friends at Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA and your 401k with physical gold and silver. And by the way, they can deliver it securely right to your front door. They'll educate you on the benefits of physical gold. Why? Because they actually care. Get $5,000. I want you to hear this. $5,000 of free silver right now on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. So don't wait. Call or click today. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A. Or go to protectwithsara.com. That is protectwithsara.com. We can't control the Biden administration, folks, but we can prepare. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, protectwithsara.com. So I was talking to you about Georgia, and every time I'm on a trip in a new city or seeing something new, I try to get the most out of it. I want to, and I've been to Atlanta, Georgia quite a bit. I love that city. I love the history. It's so sad, though. It's like so many other cities in America where you're seeing homelessness on the rise, where you're seeing drug addiction on the rise, the mentally ill on the rise, just in the streets, right? Just in the streets, openly out in the streets. This time I was in Atlanta, Georgia, obviously because Fulton County, right now, District Attorney Fannie Willis has basically indicted President Trump on 41 counts, which is incredible. Mark Meadows is wrapped up in that. For crying out loud, Kanye West's assistant is wrapped up in that. Jenna Ellis, Rudy Giuliani, And there is a big and growing debate on what is going on here. Is this politicized? Well, of course it is. Look, District Attorney Fani Willis has made a name for herself. Right now in Fulton County, I mean, her biggest charges over and over and over and over again are racketeering charges, right? Against anyone and everything, gang members, whatever. And by the way, people are sitting in county jails without charges even being brought against them forever. This is craziness. But when it comes to President Trump, it was about making a name for herself. So I really do believe that. And that's what people told me there. And some people completely agreed with her. Fulton County is definitely overwhelmingly Democrat. And I don't have any problem with that. I don't mind at all talking to folks who have their own point of view about what is going on in our country. This is America, and we should be free to express ourselves. As long as we don't harm one another, we should be free to state our own opinions, to say what we feel, right? I may feel one way, you may feel another. So I was down there in Atlanta, and I was talking to folks on the street, and surprisingly, many people spoke to me. They say, well, who are you with? And I'd say, well, I'm with Fox News. And they'd be like, okay, here's my point of view. This is what I think. Some people just didn't want to get involved at all. They were just very afraid. And I think what has happened is we've become so divisive, so broken up in our country that we are terrified of speaking publicly for what those ramifications might be. And that worries me as well. That worries me as well. As Americans, we should not be afraid of speaking out and speaking up and talking about what we believe in. So I get there, I do my interviews. And like always, this is, behind the scenes is tough. You got to work. I mean, you got to get so many people. We've got to edit the piece. We have to make sure we have balance. We have those that, of course, support President Trump, and those, of course, that oppose President Trump and want to state their own beliefs. And I want to get those on the air, on the show. And we need to get all of that material uploaded, sent off to our editors who are going to, and our executive producers who are going to look at the piece, edit the piece with me, and then put the package together so I can go on the air. So it's a long process. It's not just, the 3 minutes that you see me on television. It's what happens behind the scenes, and it's a lot of work. And I love it. And I love it. I love every single minute of it. I love my family at Fox. I love what I do. And so, but sometimes we don't make the air. Sometimes we just don't make it on the air. Why? Because there are other guests. The time has been extended. Something happens. Somebody goes longer than normal. It's okay. We eventually get the story out during the week, and I'm good with that. But last night, we were preparing. The cameraman was there, Richard. We had our security team, and it was getting late, and we were getting ready to go live on the air. And we had this big setup right in front of the courthouse in Atlanta. And the streets were pretty empty right around the courthouse, except for the media. There was, I guess, NBC and Fox 5 and a few other people that were hanging out. But for the most part, it was police and media, and it was very, very quiet. Hardly no one in that block on the street. I'm standing there. I'm getting ready to go on the air, and just making sure that my mic's working, testing the mic with New York, got the camera in front, checking out whatever I can do with my makeup, because I'm not the greatest makeup person. I admit. I try really hard. But you're working all day, and sometimes you just can't. I'm not an artist in that sense. I appreciate all the makeup gals and guys that I work with. So I'm just doing that, getting ready for the hit. And all of a sudden I hear this like bang, pow, and it's really close. And I hear like sounds like somebody screaming, or like people going, whoa, oh no, back up. I can hear sounds. And it's about maybe 25, 30 feet away, I'm guessing. but remember, there's vans behind me in the road. And I look over and I'm like, what is going on there? And I can hear the police and I hear the people. And all of a sudden, I realize as my security team runs down and the cameraman's like, no, you should stay right here because we hear ambulances already on the way. And I look over, one of the security guys comes back and he says, oh my gosh, a guy on a scooter has just been hit by an SUV. Now, I'm thinking like, is he okay? What do we need to do? Because the ambulance hadn't been there. They said, no, the police are there. They're taking care of him. But it looks really bad. I'm standing there thinking, a man just lost his life, like right next to me. And I was still kind of processing that. And the ambulances were coming and you got fire trucks and this poor person. And by the way, one of the security guys said, well, his helmet apparently was not on properly because it flew into the street. It looked like half a helmet. And I think there's issues with that as well, but who knows what happened? I don't have all the details and I'm not going to make assumptions, but just a warning out there. If you guys are riding scooters, if you have a motorcycle, wear the appropriate helmet, buckle it up because this was so fast. And I don't even think at a high rate of speed. I don't think so. But this person was severely injured or fatally injured from what I hear. And there was just this moment where all of a sudden I was thinking about all the cities I'd been to over the year, just this past year. And I'd seen so many homeless, so many people losing their lives, drugs, and sometimes it just becomes part of your everyday routine. You just get jaded to it. You get used to it. And we should not get used to it. What was even weirder was that after that happened, I could hear a car skidding, and it was to my left this time at another block. Just on my same block on that corner of the street where I was at in front of the courthouse. And I could hear a car just, and then hitting, another car. Boom, like a crash. And I was like, what is going on here? We were just kind of like in a state of shock. I'm like, is something going on? Should I be aware of something that's possibly going to happen? And what had happened there was apparently there was a car that hit a police vehicle that was in the road. And then they fled. Apparently it was two men in a car, hit a police vehicle, and then they fled. And at that moment, right after all that happened, I was thinking, okay, so that's two very bizarre things that happened. I was waiting for a lightning bolt to hit me, for a comet to come from space and knock us out or whatever, hit like point middle, because we were in between these two things. And then I get a call from the producers in my ear saying, hey, Sarah, I'm so sorry to let you know, but we're over time. We'll be bringing you on this week for the report. I'm so sorry, but we can't seem to manage to get you in. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm okay. That's not a big deal. We will get this segment on. It's important to inform the American people, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to be on TV. A man just lost his life on the right side of me, and some cops got hit on the left side of me, and some folks just fled the scene. And I was really tired. I was really tired. And Richard was a cameraman, and he said, we were like, it's okay. We were assessing the situation. We got to pack our stuff up. It was really late. I don't even think we got out of there till like right around 11:30 because security, I wanted to make sure that we stayed with our camera guy, made sure all of his stuff was packed, made sure that, we were all together. We're a team. I believe in working as a team. And I believe it's important that as a team, you stay with the team. And, it's dangerous. I don't want to see someone get mugged or, anything like that. And I was glad that I stayed because Richard was talking to me, and I hope he's okay with this, but he was telling me about all these great adventures that he has now because in 2017 or something, he ended up starting to collect old bikes. His father left him a motorcycle that was like from, I don't even know, the 1930s. And he refurbished it, and he's been taking these cool adventures like in Europe, riding kind of around the world. And, and he said to me, I'm terminally ill. And I was like, you are? I feel terrible. I was like, I had no idea. And we were talking, and he goes, because we all are. He's like, we're all gonna meet our maker someday, or whatever we believe in. And, just like that guy on the scooter, which, by the way, I prayed for. I don't know who this person is. I hope that I am wrong and they are not fatally wounded, and that they got to the hospital and they had some miraculous recovery. But we are all going to meet our maker. And it's about how we live our life every single day, how we take the hard times too, right? We're not always going to make it on the air, figure of speech, but it's how we handle those tough times and what we do with the time we have on our hands, like spending time with our family, or, floating down the river, or having a barbecue, or just when we feel really frustrated and we feel like everything is just screwed up, just taking a step back. I have to do it. I get mad. I say things sometimes I don't mean. I get frustrated, and I have to just take a step back and say, wait a minute, let me reassess what's going on here, right? Let me reassess what life is. It is a great gift. Don't squander it. This is a precious gift. It's fleeting. And we got to make the most out of it. Whether that is, I believe it's on multiple levels, right? We've got to get more involved in our communities. Take the time out to make friends and do something special for your friends. And, if you made a promise, kind of fulfill it. Call people you haven't called in a long time. Tell them that you love them. Tell them you're sorry for being such a flake, that life is just too busy. Spend some time, get a board game, right? A board game. Board games were fun. Board games are fun. I want to play some Monopoly. And just think about all those things that we take for granted. There is a song, Reba McEntire, that's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. I think that's the night that the lights went on in Georgia for me, in Atlanta, Georgia. The night that the lights went on in Georgia. And it was because I needed a wake-up call again. And I get a lot of these in my life. I have a deep faith in God. Deep, deep faith that, we are a part of something so much greater, something so much more miraculous, something that if we just listen and we just stop the noise, that it'll speak to us, that God speaks to us. So that was the night that the lights went on in Georgia. I love my life. I know you love yours. I know that you're probably sitting at home now thinking, Sara, what are you talking about? I just hope that when you hear me say these things, right, that you have that moment where you're like, you know what? Today I'm not going to watch TV. Today I'm just going to, go out to In-N-Out Burger with my kids and get home and play a game of Monopoly, or spend more time on my daughter's or my son's homework, or play with the dog, or go to the dog park. Just do something that makes you happy. Life is too short. Call the people that you love. Call the people you haven't talked to in a long time. It's a big mystery, but we're all stuck here. And we're all stuck here together. Folks, 20th anniversary sale. 20th anniversary sale, Mike Lindell and MyPillow. I love you, Mike. I haven't called you in a long time, but I want to tell you that I love you and thank you so much for making such amazing products. I hope you guys are out there listening to this and supporting MyPillow, an American company with a great American that is doing everything he can to stand up for freedom and the ability to freely speak. Yes, we're watching what's happening now in our country, and that's a little bit frightening. And right now, Mike Lindell has queen size Limited edition My Pillows, regular price $69.98, now only $19.98. Wow, $19.98 and just $10 more for king size. Go to mypillow.com/Carter. You're a Carter listener. You will get this discount. Use promo code Carter, CARTER, or call 1-800-685-7221. Go to mypillow.com/Carter and use promo code Carter to get the queen size My Pillow for only $19.98 during Mike's My Pillow 20th anniversary sale. Or call 1-800-685-7221. There you'll find not only this amazing offer, but also deep discounts on all My Pillow products, including the My Pillow slippers, pet beds, blankets, and more. Get the best night's sleep at mypillow.com/Carter and use promo code Carter, or call 1-800-685-7221. mypillow.com/Carter, promo code Carter. Okay, before I let you go, there was another moment of an awakening in my time in Georgia. And it was when we were driving back to the hotel. And we had walked back, and I had to go through the crosswalk, by the way, that where the person had lost their life. And I'm going to tell you, I did not see the body. I did not want to be a looky-loo. I said a prayer from where I was at for that person. I watched as the ambulances showed up. I saw the gurney being put onto the ambulance. I saw the fire trucks and the commotion. And I kind of stood outside of this one for that moment. I didn't feel like it was my place to be there in the middle of that situation, that tragic situation. So I said a prayer there. And then when I left, we went through the crosswalk. But what was really weird was the whole process after somebody gets hit by a car or there's a car wreck, then you have the ambulances, you have everybody taking police reports, then the person in the ambulance disappears, and then a big truck shows up. It's a cleaning truck. And there was apparently a lot of blood on the street. And the truck came and it was hosing down the whole street and scrubbing it. And as I walked back to the car, I thought to myself, just a few minutes ago, this whole event took place, and now it's just gone. Like nothing ever happened, just washed away, right? And then we get in the car, and then we're driving down the road, and I see this homeless man, and he's walking down the middle of the road in one of those white tanks that had formerly been called something else. Yeah, the old white tank. It was dirty, and a pair of shorts that were falling off of him. And he was talking to himself, and he was looking down at the ground, and there was drool coming out of his mouth. And you could see he was visibly mentally ill and probably on drugs. And he was walking in this empty street alone, and our car had to kind of go around him. And then I looked over to the right, and I saw these people sleeping on the sidewalks. And then I saw this, it was a hookah shop or something, and there was a BMW out front, and there were people standing around the Beamer, and you could tell they were buying drugs. And then there were people dancing on one corner of the street, and there was a man defecating not too far from where that group was. And I'm watching all of this happen, and it's midnight, and there's nobody else there, just this night, this world that is ignored for the most part, people that have been forgotten, people that are lost. And I see this in every city I go to in America, and I think to myself, how is it that this is our country? How is it that we ignore this? Why do we ignore this? Why don't we demand more of ourselves, more of our lawmakers, more of our leaders, more of the people that are on the streets? Why do we allow this to happen? What is going on here? Folks, the war zones aren't always outside of our country. In fact, we have war zones right here in our cities, in our urban areas, in our rural communities. And we better wake up. and pay attention to what's going on. Because if we don't, it continues to grow. It's like a virus, and it sucks everything up in it. And you're not going to be able to avoid it. Trust me on that. Because it's not contained, right? You can't contain a virus. It spreads. The only way to really stop this is to admit that we do have a problem in this country and that we need to wake up and we need to help one another. We can't ignore those people because we think we're somehow better than them. We're really not. That could be any one of us. That could be a family member. That could be somebody that we love. That was somebody that somebody loved. But this is getting out of control. And our country is facing serious, serious threats and consequences, not just from the outside, but from the inside as well. Let's wake up. 2024 cannot come fast enough. If you love today's show and you want even more of the Sara Carter Show, make sure you rate this podcast 5 stars and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. I don't care, whichever one you love. This is about me and you. This is about, working together to save our country. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, on Twitter at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless that poor soul that was injured last night in Atlanta, Georgia, and their family and their friends. And God bless the great state of Texas.